Shalom Akim, all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashim, Hashai Bashim, Kapadosh. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to you, Akim, doing the work in truth and sincerity. Um, I am going to play this video and then I'll be back. The video is about 6 minutes long. So, yeah, I'm going to play this video and I will be right back.
So this video may ruffle some feathers. I don't care. I think that it needs to be discussed. And so Sonia Massey was a black woman who was shot and killed in her home by police. She actually called the police herself because she thought that there was an intruder outside of her home. So there's body camera footage, at least from the one officer. One officer did not turn his body camera on until after. The one officer did have his body camera on the whole time. So yes, there are some issues with that, but that really doesn't have any bearing on how this played out. So she called them. They came, they searched, they couldn't find anybody or locate anybody, and they were actually getting ready to go when they saw a vehicle parked in her driveway. I'm not sure all of the details surrounding that. Ultimately, I know they began to ask her about it, and they actually entered her home at that point and asked her for some identification. Again, I don't really know all the specifics behind that, but it was still a very light conversation. She was responding to them, talking to them. They were talking and having a normal conversation. There was no indication of what was about to unfold. So the body camera footage, I mean, it's not all direct. This is coming in bits and pieces, but eventually it gets to the point where you see her standing up and there's a pot of boiling water on her stove. So I'm sure you guys have seen the videos. I don't have a video to into this right now. I may try to, but so the cop tells her to go shut the boiling water off because he doesn't want a fire to happen. To which she replies, "Okay." So she goes over there and she shuts the stove off. At this point, she picks up the pot of boiling water, and she begins to walk with it towards the cops. And the cop asks her, "What are you doing?" Still in a lighthearted manner. And at this point, she's still walking in their direction, and you can see the cop on the body camera turn. He takes his front side away from her, and she's like, why are you turning? And he's like, "Because I don't want hot water to the face." And at that point, she says, "I rebuke you." You can't really hear it too well, but that's what the transcripts say in news articles. And so he's like, "Huh?" And at that point, she says, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." He says, "You better fucking not." And at that point, they draw their guns.
They don't. He does.
At that point, she puts her hand up. So there's a counter, an island in between her and the cops. At this point, the pot is back on the counter. She puts her hands up, and the cops have their weapon saying, "I will shoot you in your face," because she just had the pot of water rebuking them, which can all be considered acts of aggression, and that pot of boiling water can be considered a weapon. So a pot of water, boiling hot water, can be considered a weapon that can cause very serious and permanent damage to somebody and could potentially result in death if they get second or third degree burns and those turn septic and cause an infection. So first, that is the first weapon that she had in her hands. Like I said, she was walking towards the cops. There was absolutely no reason that she needed to take this pot of boiling water and walk with it off the stove. She could have just pushed it onto a different burner. She could have just set it on the counter and left it there, set it in the sink. She did not need to walk in the direction of the cops. So that is considered the weapon. She told them, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," while coming with them with this boiling hot pot of water. Okay, that could be considered an act of aggression, which is why the cops drew their weapons. At this point, no shots have been fired. So she then has a weapon drawn, and he says, "I will shoot you in your face." Okay, so at this point, she is visibly scared. She sets down the pot of water and she puts her hands up. She still has oven mitts on. At this point, and this is the key crucial point, you guys, she then ducks. She ducks down below the counter to where you can no longer see her. On the body camera, you can no longer see her or her hands, okay? That is a huge no-no with the cops, especially when they have their guns drawn. You do not take your hands out of sight. They need to make sure that you do not have a weapon in your hands. So right there, when she ducked down and they could no longer see her hands and no longer determine that she was not a threat and did not have a weapon, they had every right to exercise deadly force how they did. If she would have just froze, and she would have just stayed still, she probably would be alive today. And if she wasn't, then that is when cold-blooded murder occurs. But right now, the facts of the case are still coming in, and this is going to go to trial. But people are so quick to get their emotions in this type of case, and I get it. I get it. It's an unfortunate event that really did not need to happen. There were errors on both sides. The cops never should have had her go shut the stove off. They could have just done that themselves. There was 2 of them. Yes. But that's not what happened. They were just unable to tell if she was actually a threat to them or not. And unfortunately, she lost her life in the process. They immediately called for aid. They immediately said that shots were fired. Yes, he told them not to perform life-saving measures. Her face was kind of missing at that point. So I don't know all of the details surrounding that, but the moments leading up to the shooting and the actual shooting may actually be considered justified.
Now, y'all heard that. She said this shooting was justified. Now, you heard her whole story and how she framed it. Now, let's look at what really happened.
Huge. That's more than a mistake. You know, I mean, that's...
So that's really what happened. And you heard how the Edomite bitch said it was justified, you know. you see what happened. And I showed the Edomite first so you can see how these devils think of you, you know. And then I showed the video of what really happened, you know, that led up to the shots, you know. All to just bring out these 2 scriptures. This is Lamentations 2:16. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day we looked for. We have found it. We have seen it. Because this is the day that they looked for. Israel's downfall. And hey, you see how this cop reacted to a black woman ducking behind a counter, man. And this pot of boiling water that was such a deadly threat.
Huge. That's more than a mistake.
It's like, where was the life-threatening, you know, what was the life-altering threat coming to the officers, you know, that they were justified in shooting this black woman, this Israelite woman, you know. And don't get me wrong, I know that she's, that's her judgment. However, that don't justify none of these devils, man. And this is how these devils think about you. And this is, I'm going to leave on this. This is James 2:13. For he shall have judgment without mercy that hath shown no mercy. And mercy rejoiceth against judgment. Because these devils show no mercy. That was no mercy right there, man. That was no mercy. At all. And then you got this devil woman talking about it. And she has no mercy. She's saying it's justified. What, because she ducked behind the counter because they was pointing guns at her? But this is how these devils think of you. You jakes better understand they ain't for you. But I'm going to end it there. Till next time, all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Bashim Karkadash. Double honors to the apostles of great millstones. Salutation to you, I can doing the work in truth and sincerity. Till next time, Shalom.